I never expected the person who would change my life to walk into my office carrying a stack of files and an apology, but that's exactly how it happened. It was a Monday morning, the kind that already felt exhausting before the day had even begun. My coffee had gone cold, my inbox had over 100 unread emails, and I was already 10 minutes late for a meeting I didn't want to attend. When my office door opened, I didn't even look up at first. "Mr. Carter?" Her voice was soft but steady. I glanced up briefly, expecting to see another intern or HR representative. Instead, I saw her. She looked nervous, standing there with a folder clutched tightly in both hands. Her dark hair was tied back neatly, and she wore a simple navy blazer that looked slightly too big for her. "I'm sorry to interrupt," she said quickly. "I think I'm your new assistant." I frowned slightly. "My new assistant?" "Yes," she said, stepping forward. "Lena Morales." I leaned back in my chair, confused. "My assistant resigned 2 weeks ago. HR hasn't sent anyone yet." Her eyebrows lifted in surprise. "They told me I start today." Of course they did. HR loved dropping surprises on me without warning. I sighed and rubbed my temple. "Well," I said finally, "I guess you're hired." She let out a small breath of relief. "Thank you." I didn't realize it at the time, but Lena Morales had just walked into my life carrying a secret that would eventually turn everything upside down. Over the next few days, Lena proved something quickly. She was good, really good. She organized my calendar in ways that somehow made impossible schedules work. She anticipated emails before I even mentioned them. She remembered details most people overlooked. Within a week, she had turned my chaotic office into something manageable. But something about her always felt slightly distant. She was polite, professional, friendly even, but there was a wall around her. The kind of wall people build when they're trying very hard not to let anyone get too close. One evening, we were both still working late. The office was quiet, the kind of silence that only happens after most people have gone home. I stepped out of my office and saw her sitting at her desk, staring at her phone with a worried expression. "Everything okay?" I asked. She quickly locked the screen. "Yes." Too quickly. I noticed it immediately. But I didn't press. Everyone had private things. Still, something told me Lena Morales was carrying more than just normal stress. About 3 weeks after she started working for me, I accidentally overheard something. Not intentionally. I had just returned from a meeting earlier than expected. As I walked toward my office, I heard Lena's voice in the hallway near the break room. She sounded upset. "No, I can't come today," she whispered into the phone. There was a pause. Then her voice cracked slightly. "I'm trying. I just need more time." Another pause. "I promise I'll figure something out." I stopped walking. Not because I wanted to listen, but because something in her voice sounded desperate. Then she said something that made my chest tighten. "I know the hospital needs payment. I'm doing everything I can." Hospital? My mind immediately filled with questions. Before I could move, she ended the call. When she turned around and saw me standing there, her eyes widened. For a moment, neither of us spoke. "I didn't mean to overhear," I said carefully. "It's okay," she replied quickly. But I could see the embarrassment on her face. And the fear. That was the moment I realized. The secret Lena was hiding wasn't something small. After that day, something changed between us. Not dramatically, but subtly. She seemed even more careful around me. More guarded, as if she was afraid I knew too much. The truth was, I didn't know anything. But I couldn't stop thinking about that phone call, about the hospital, about the fear in her voice. A few nights later, I found her working late again. Stacks of documents were spread across her desk, but she looked exhausted. "You should go home," I said. "I will," she replied softly. "You've been here longer than anyone." She gave a small smile. "I'm used to long days." I studied her for a moment. "Lena," I said gently. "Yes." "If you're dealing with something difficult, you don't have to handle it alone." Her eyes flickered with emotion, but then the wall went back up. "I appreciate that," she said, "but I'm fine. It was the kind of answer people give when they're absolutely not fine. The secret finally revealed itself on a rainy Thursday evening. Lena didn't show up to work that morning, which was strange. She was always early. By noon, I was concerned. I called her phone. No answer. Then HR emailed me saying she had taken an emergency day off. Something felt wrong. That evening, while leaving the office, I saw her, standing outside the building, in the rain. Her eyes were red like she had been crying. "Lena," I said, walking toward her. She looked up, startled. "I didn't want you to see me like this." "What happened?" For a moment, she tried to hold it together. Then everything collapsed. "My sister," she whispered. "She's sick." Her voice trembled. Really sick. And suddenly, everything made sense. The hospital calls. The stress. The exhaustion. "She's only 16, Lena continued. "And the treatments are expensive. I've been trying to pay the bills, but I can't keep up anymore." Her voice broke. I thought this job would help me fix everything. For the first time since I met her, the wall disappeared, and I saw the real Lena. Tired, scared, but still trying to be strong. We sat in a quiet cafe across the street. She told me everything. Their parents had passed away years ago. She had been raising her younger sister alone, working 2 jobs before joining our company. And now the hospital bills were piling up. "I didn't want anyone to know," she said quietly. "I didn't want to look weak." I shook my head. "You're not weak." She gave a sad smile. "It feels like it." That was the moment I realized something dangerous, something complicated, something I hadn't expected. I cared about her, not just as an employee, not just as someone I respected, but as someone who mattered to me. And that realization was both beautiful and terrifying. Over the next few weeks, I found excuses to help, extra work hours, a bonus project, anything that would legally increase her income. But the truth was, helping her wasn't the real problem. The real problem was how I felt when I looked at her, when she laughed, when she relaxed for a moment, and the stress disappeared from her face. One night, while leaving the office together, she stopped suddenly. "Why are you doing this?" she asked. "Doing what?" "Helping me." I shrugged lightly. "Because you deserve help." She studied me carefully. Then she said something that made my heart skip. "You're a good man, Daniel." Not Mr. Carter. Daniel, for the first time. And suddenly the line between boss and assistant felt dangerously thin. Just when I thought I understood her secret, another one appeared. And this one was even bigger. One afternoon, while reviewing documents, I noticed something strange. Her last name, Morales. It triggered a memory. A name I had seen before. In a legal file years ago. I pulled up an old document from our company archives, and my stomach dropped. Lena Morales was the daughter of a man who had once tried to destroy my company. A business rival. A lawsuit. A scandal from years ago. The kind of history that could ruin everything if people found out. When I confronted her gently that evening, she didn't deny it. "I was hoping you'd never connect the dots," she said quietly. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I needed the job." She looked devastated. "And because I didn't want you to hate me." But the truth was, I didn't hate her. If anything, I cared about her even more. Secrets eventually come to light. They always do. When the truth about Lena's identity reached the board of directors, they demanded she be fired immediately. Conflict of interest, company risk, legal concerns. But I refused, not because I was her boss, not because I felt responsible, but because I loved her. And the moment I realized that, I knew my life would never be simple again. Standing in that boardroom, I made a decision that shocked everyone. "If Lena goes," I said calmly, "then I go too." Silence filled the room. The board wasn't expecting that. In the end, they allowed her to stay, but under strict conditions. And when the meeting ended, she looked at me with tears in her eyes. "You didn't have to do that," she whispered. "Yes," I said softly. "I did." Because some people enter your life quietly, but change everything. Months later, her sister recovered. The hospital bills were finally under control. And one evening, as we walked through a park after work, she looked at me and smiled. "You know," she said softly, "my secret almost cost me everything." I squeezed her hand gently. "Maybe," I replied, "but it also led you to me. And sometimes the biggest secrets lead to the most unexpected love stories."